Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
I said give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Zeta Zay.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Spoker. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Tsar, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emil ASH checking in on a pick of the week special like we always do to start your week in wrestling. We'll tell you our favorite matches from the week. And if you want to be part of the conversation, you can always hit us up on Twitter and on TikTok. That's also where we welcome your ambag, your contributions to the pick of the week pool. It is at Wrestling2XPod. We've got a lot of stuff going on for the month of May, the first of which is another viewing party that we're really psyched about, even though only one or two of us can actually be there because life happens and because of work.
Ang saya ko kasi lapit lang sa bahay.
Yeah. No, Chino, you promote it because you're the one who's going to be there.
No. It's fine. I'll do it.
No, I can do it. Despite that, despite the close proximity to my home, siguro I can fill out anything I missed out. The place is actually a great venue. It's called Hobby Stadium. It's located along Doña Hebedy Street in Quezon City. Manila, Quezon City, and it's a great little venue for basically all sorts of nerds. You got your sports nerds, your trading card nerds, your figure nerds, your wrestling nerds. Everybody is welcome at Hobby Stadium. We are having our first viewing party in this brand new venue on the 27th of May to welcome the brand new World Heavyweight Champion, whoever that person may be, during the Night of Champions pay-per-view. This is, of course, in conjunction with our friends from Geek Talk PH. So sila Shark and Dennis will also be there alongside myself representing the Wrestling Podcast. For your tickets, they can go to snack.ph and just look for the event right there. It's, I think, 500. Magkano ba?
All right. So it's a snack.ph/geektalkph. It's already up as of, kasi nung mention namin last Thursday, wala pa rin. So it's already there. Early bird tickets are at 400 pesos. If you choose to walk in, it's going to be 500. Meron yung kasamang food item. I believe, I've been told that you can pick anything out, one single item on the menu.
The food's pretty good.
Yeah, the food's pretty good. Yeah. So you can pick anything you want from the menu. Isa lang, syempre, yun yung libre mo. And then, Hobby Stadium will be giving away some, action figures and other prizes. So I've been told na the more people who come, the better the prizes will be. So alam nyo na. So alam nyo na, if you want...
Hey, they might just give away that giant Death Star I've been keeping my eye on. Hindi wrestling related, pero sana, diba?
No, you never know. Kasi if we pack the place at like 11:30 p.m. all the way to like 4 a.m. or whatever, they might just give away like the best stuff, diba?
Yeah.
So, there it is, the Night of Champions Premium Live Event, live viewing party. It starts at 11:30 p.m. That's when the doors open. Pero syempre, the event itself will start at 1 a.m. I believe. And syempre, slumber party na tayo doon. I don't know kung may mattress, pero I expect some of you will
be
dozing
off. Couches.
They
have comfy couches. They
some
have
of y'all,
giant TVs.
Yeah. Some of y'all will be sleeping on those couches because I'm sure not everyone can stay up the entire 3 hours or so.
Good luck na lang sa mga pupunta. Sana mag-deodorant tayong lahat pag pumunta tayo sa viewing party.
Walang shower, pero mag-ano pa rin kayo. Maligo pa rin kayo.
Mag-deodorant naman tayo.
Anytime fitness sa tapat nun. Kung may anytime pass kayo, please use it.
I actually passed by Doña Hebedy Street the other day, and I saw it. So it's one big building. I believe it's on like the top floor or second floor.
Yeah, it's on the third floor of that building. few restaurants on the side, but mostly very quiet. So may parking siya, Apple parking. Ano ba kailangan nyo malaman? Maganda yung TV sila, masarap yung food.
If you have been to the Peta Theater for MWF or another, production, it's really close. So
it's about 2 blocks away from the Peta Theater. Sorry, a block away from the Peta Theater. So
again,
very close.
Again, snack.ph/geektalkph. That's GEEKTALKPH. 400 pesos early bird.
All right. We'll see you there at the Night of Champions viewing party. Another quick plug before we get started. Of course, we've got our growing wrestling podcast patron community. Earlier, we were entertaining an inquiry. Hopefully, ma-convert natin yan into a subscription. So if you want to be part of everything that we do and avail of the services that our patrons get to really avail of and take advantage of even, this is where you can go.
Right, so if you want to get the full Wrestling podcast experience, you could do it by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling podcast for as low as $5 or in a local currency. It's around 275 pesos, around that amount. And there are perks, of course, to subscribing to our Patreon, to our growing Patreon community. You got the Discord server, a Discord community where you can interact with your fellow podcast and talk to us
NBA
about
playoffs.
Yes, especially me and Stan here, where you could interact with us and talk to us about anything. Of course, like Ro mentioned here, you could talk to us also about sports, but it's you could talk to us about wrestling, about food, fashion, memes, sports, and everything and anything under the sun. We also have the Pasabays, which the last one just concluded last month during WrestleMania weekend. And the next one isn't really far off. So if you want to get your authentic wrestling merch, you could get it through us. You could also get the review content of the weekly shows like RAW, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and some local wrestling content review as well from courtesy of RAW and ASH. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here on the pod. So again, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
All right, thank you for that, Emil ASH. Getting better with the ad reads as we get through each week.
Yes.
Let's get to the picks of the week, and we're gonna do this thing chronologically for this week. So I'll start with mine, which comes from last week's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was the match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor in the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament semifinals. It was repeated ad nauseum na rematch siya of SummerSlam 2016, which I appreciated kasi may added wrinkle of their alignments being reversed. Seth is now the face, Finn is now the heel, and sobrang nakakatuwa yung giggle that both of them had, especially Finn, like when he did that buckle bomb to Seth on the outside. Great reference to the injury that basically changed Finn Balor's trajectory for 2 or 3 years after he won the Universal Championship. And what I liked about this was I didn't expect Finn to even be in this match kasi nung pinakita yung bracket, I was like, oh, it's Seth and Cody in the semis kasi nung start pa lang ng Raw, may konting interaction na between Cody and Seth. So I like how Raw teased us with it and then they yanked it away from us only to give us Finn versus Seth, which I'm not gonna complain about kasi the Judgment Day did need a bounce back win after what happened to Damian Priest nung Backlash. So it was good to see Finn and the Judgment Day getting this opportunity, and okay din yung character wrinkle ni Seth ngayon. I think, Ro, you've mentioned this on previous episodes of the podcast where Seth is the megalomaniac, pero when he's in the ring, he's all business. Tapos he just wants to prove to everybody that he's the best, right? So it's nice to have this layer to him that we didn't really have when he was Universal Champion coming out of WrestleMania 35 na sobrang white meat babyface lang niya nun. So I'm all in on the Seth Rollins for World Heavyweight Champion campaign. Let's just get there and crown the man.
Speaking of about that megalomaniac thing, it's not just him being a megalomaniac. It's like he's a megalomaniac of the people. So syempre, he's like a cult leader now. I think the way Bray Wyatt wanted to be by have everyone singing a song. He's conducting that chorus. Tapos he's just beloved by all. So I think successfully transitioned siya to that role. It's not so much a megalomaniac now. It's just really more of a guy that people believe in and support in. So parang El Shaddai siya or whatever.
Yeah.
On
Like
this
outside
note,
the context of wrestling, it's hard to believe that this guy is a good guy. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Diba?
Yes.
Like, gets ko din yun. Sorry, jumping in here. Gets ko din yung sinasabi nyo kasi it's only in wrestling is it acceptable to cheer for such basically douchebag, diba? Nakasuit siya, he talks about himself, he dances to his own music, diba? So parang, but you can't help but cheer for him because he's so charismatic, and this current iteration of Seth Rollins really capitalizes on that charisma.
Yeah. I mentioned this nung live stream last Thursday, but it was really so great. To add to the pick of this match, it was really just so great to see two guys who had wrestled earlier in their own respective triple threat matches, which were no short matches either. They were full events, full blown out events. Na demanded like the most of them physically, and then they would go out later that night, at least an hour after they had wrestled in that triple threat, and still deliver a top-notch, highly athletic contest without looking like they were tired. That is a testament to how elite these athletes are. They're not just wrestlers; they're legit athletes in the WWE, which is why I would hope the science surrounding their physicality would catch up. But so good. You couldn't have asked for a better semifinal slot.
Yeah, and to add here, I think I already said this on Thursday no live stream. This isn't really the first time na nagharap si Seth and Finn after the SummerSlam 2016 match, but I love the callbacks just because this is a match for the new championship, and Seth and Finn once battled for the Universal Championship when it was new. So I really love that element that was the commentators were referencing throughout the match, and yung callback of the buckle bomb as well. So that was a tremendous semifinals match. And again, like we said, this is for Seth Rollins to win this whole tournament.
Yeah, if you have any lapsed fans wondering na, parang di na okay yung mga wrestler ngayon compared to nung nanonood ako, show them this match. So it's one of those matches you could hopefully impress them with. And if they don't get impressed, they're not just lapsed fans, they're just non-believers at this point. So
that's a whole different can of worms that I think we should get into some other time.
Medyo different conversation.
Yeah, that's I mean, I would love to agree with you, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. So talagang ibang usapan to.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, yung iba yung lapsed fan dun sa grew out of it. Grew parang nag-mature na or whatever they want to use to describe themselves at this point. So, parang if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's fine. But if you want to watch wrestling again, then watch this match.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to Dynamite for Rose pick.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Okay. I was waiting for that at the top of the after the ad read. But all right, anyway, my pick of the week was the main event. A lot of good stuff to pick from this episode. I believe a personal choice is the main event, the steel cage match between John Moxley and Kenny Omega. You guys might know this better as the match in which Don Callis, who is pretty much Kenny Omega's family, extended family, turned on him by stabbing him with a screwdriver. But before all of that, Mox and Kenny had themselves a nice little brawl. I picked this because even though there are a lot of New Japan talents booked on AEW programming, very little din yung actual Japanese influenced wrestling, that they don't always get to do that. So this match was a prime example of that kind of stuff that I like. It was just calling back to the violence that both Kenny and Mox were allowed to deliver whenever they get booked in NJPW. So that's a lot of fun. Syempre, there's a lot of hardcore stuff. I know that some of you guys might not like that stuff, especially because there's barbed wire, there's thumbtacks, there's blood. There's a lot of that cringy stuff, but I have to admit I like it. I like that hardcore shit, some of that deathmatch shit. So it's real violence that I think they made up for the failed explosion, the exploding barbed wire deathmatch. I think this came off a lot better than that. So kudos to them. And syempre, is since the turn by Don Callis got the whole world talking, I would like to say then that that particular story beat was executed well. So all around good stuff there. I wouldn't be mad at you if you picked like Orange Cassidy versus Daniel Garcia for your pick from Dynamite, but this was just a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, Dynamite had a lot of good matches this week. There was this one. There's Claudio versus Phoenix. That was on Dynamite, right? So good na nun. But this one actually also stood out to me for all the things Ro mentioned, and also because just like Rollins versus Balor, the roles were reversed in this one, diba? Dito face na si Kenny, heel na si Moxley, and they still managed to pull off a very brutal, very barbaric, hardcore in essence death match na din. Tama lang din. I think they finally redeemed themselves from the fiasco of the exploding barbed wire match. This was much better executed, and the Don Callis turn at the end, medyo unexpected siya, but in the best way possible. Kasi now we're talking about it, now we're speculating, now we can't wait to see what happens. And so kudos to AEW for this week.
Yeah, and for me, I think this match solidified the case for me that Moxley versus Kenny Omega is like the best rivalry that AEW ever had in its short history. Kasi from the beginning, di ba nag-feud sila at the beginning of AEW, and now 4 years later, the roles are now reversed, and it's it still hits the same. It's still their matches are still tremendous, and parang because of they had that long layoff after yung Revolution, they didn't really interact with each other, and so by doing that, you keep that feud a little bit fresh. And now the new iteration of the John Moxley Kenny Omega feud, where you had Moxley now with his own crew, the Blackpool Combat Club, and Kenny with his with the Elite. So they somehow kept things fresh, and now they added a new life to that rivalry. And I think that rivalry will still continue as the years goes on if Moxley and Omega stays in AEW. So, but this match was a really good match. A lot for me lang na overshadow lang siya nung turn ni Don Callis. But if you watch a match, I think you'll really be impressed of how good these two are. Again, two of the best in the world, the best wrestlers in the world.
My favorite part of this match was Bryan Danielson on commentary and how much of a douchebag he was and how memeable his facial reactions were. Like when Janelle Monáe released the music video for Lipstick Lover, one of the first things I saw was a reaction to that and then a picture of Daniel Bryan on commentary. So the fact that it crossover na siya to the music universe to encapsulate people's thirst for Janelle Monáe really made me happy. So God bless Bryan Danielson.
Forgot to add to my explanation. Yung chemistry ni Kenny and Mox is off the charts, which is why they keep running this match back. They ran it in 2019 when AEW started. They ran it in 2021 with a death match and stuff, and now they ran it again because it's just so good. It's like you put them in there and like it's one of the best stuff that you can watch, and that's why it's the main event.
It's
parang fourth na ata to eh.
Yeah. Is Kenny John Moxley's best opponent like in his career?
I would in AEW maybe. I think so. Shepard not in NJPW. Like I think Okada is Kenny's best opponent there. Pero
Moxley. Is Kenny okay.
Is Moxley is Kenny?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so just yet. I've seen a lot of good Moxley matches with just about a whole bunch of other people, especially when he was champion. So it could be, but I would like to see one match that doesn't involve like a match now that doesn't involve all those shenanigans with the hardcore stuff, with the barbed wire. Because I think since the beginning they were just doing a bunch of hardcore shit. So I don't think I've ever really seen them in a long form pay-per-view quality match. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, sobrang absolutist din kasi to say na kunwari, Kenny is Mox's best opponent in AEW period, right? Like I would say na he's one of the best. Like I can't discount Bryan versus Mox, diba? Or in WWE, Seth versus Ambrose, diba?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to just pick one.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Impact Wrestling and SmackDown for the rest of our picks of the week. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. Let's get to the second half of our picks of the week. We're going to go to Impact Wrestling this time. Chino, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so I picked Masha Slamovich versus Killer Kelly, which aired on Impact last Thursday, Friday dito sa Pilipinas. And it was a pretty good match for me, especially because it's now showcasing the mid card of the very, very underrated Impact Women's Division. See, Masha Slamovich, it just came onto the scene just last year, right into Impact. And see, Killer Kelly, of course, we know her from the Mae Young Classic and her short stint in NXT UK, I believe. So both wrestlers are actually even we've been talking about chemistry here for the longest time. Tong dalawang wrestlers na to have great chemistry in the sense that they can just hit the living shit out of each other and still keep going. Diba? Parang kaya nilang tumanggap and then kaya nilang magbigay in that sense. So I really love the hard-hitting aspects of wrestling, especially in women's wrestling, because it's rarely seen. And these two they both bring that MMA brawler style to the ring. So for me, this is why I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I always like watching matches na are 10 minutes and less. And this match was that, and I like the submission style of both of these wrestlers. And I specifically love the finish, the classic the classic finish of the sleeper, tas magro-roll dun sa top rope. And yung natalo siya, hindi niya binitawan agad yung sleeper just to send a message. That was really unique, and I really like that.
I would argue it wasn't unique because that's like the third time we've seen that over the last few weeks from WWE and AEW alone. So I don't know, medyo nasawa na ako with that finish because we just saw that with Cody. That's how he defeated Brock, diba?
Yeah. And before that, you saw it with Brock or Lashley, I believe, or either
yes,
one of them.
Lashley over Brock over Lashley naman Royal Rumble last year, 2022.
And then I know somebody else did that recently. Then I believe from AEW, I think, or another WWE superstar. So I've strangely seen it a lot of times now. So I don't know why people suddenly started doing the Bret Hart finish. See Bret, with Stone Cold, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has become a lot more commonplace now. So I hope people take notice of it and then stop doing it. I'll be honest, I didn't get to catch this match because I didn't have time before we started recording. But Killer Kelly, always great. We got to see not enough of her in WWE. Masha Slamovich, also up and coming. She's had notable stuff with both men and women. So anytime somebody gets that kind of notoriety, especially now that they're signed to a big, relatively big company like Impact, you can bet that you'll be seeing more of them in the bigger promotions in the near future. So good stuff. It's great to see Masha, doing some good work in the business.
Yeah, so I actually got to catch this match, and I've been a fan of Killer Kelly dating back to NXT UK, and even I think yung Mae Young Classic, right, where I first saw her, right? So it's nice to see her on TV again. Admittedly, I don't get to catch Impact. Last time na nanood ako na episode was when Christian was last Impact World Champion. So it was refreshing to see this era of Impact with Tom Hannifan and Matt Rewalda on commentary, and then Masha Slamovich being this bruskong babae. And Killer Kelly on her own is already bruskong babae. So to see someone out Killer Kelly was pretty entertaining for me. So thank you, Chino, for putting an Impact match in there. And I'm not gonna lie, it entertained me to the point that I watched like half the episode after that opening match. So good stuff coming out of Impact Wrestling here.
Yeah, Impact is pretty great. If anything, a little inconsistent, but so far pretty great.
Yeah,
inconsistent because I know they tape in bunches, so it's like NXT UK before, and not everything is going to be a big name match, diba?
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's get to SmackDown, which is the last show with our picks for this week. We'll start with Rowan's pick, which was Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus in the first round of the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament on SmackDown. So sabi ni Rowan, he expected it to be more hard-hitting and physical than Ray versus Edge versus AJ, which we'll talk about in a bit. And he came out of it feeling bad for Austin Theory kasi parang nasasawa na siya siguro seeing Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley locking horns again. So, yun, it was nice though for him that, with the triple threat rules and everything, you could really see the element of guys trying to steal the victory over one another, which we did see in the finish of that match. That being said, napaka-physical. I think this was a match where Lashley got busted open, diba?
Yeah, he got pretty busted open bad at the end.
Yeah, to the point na after they'd stitched him up and Lashley appeared in the main event, ang laki ng bukol, tas kita mo talaga yung stitches, and then he got busted open again during that match with AJ Styles. So really unfortunate for our guy Bobby Lashley, but great match naman in this first round of the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Both of the triple threat matches were pretty good. Actually, we'll talk about the next one, diba? The first one rather, next, diba? But really good stuff. Syempre, it's kind of tough to outdo the other triple threats because all the first round matches were of the same format. But I think they did a good job by pretty much establishing themselves as the hard hitting, stiff triple threat. Because they had Sheamus and they had Lashley, and then the odd one out in Theory. I prefer the other one more, with the old timer triple threat. But this one was pretty good. I will echo what Rowan said noong sa kanyang SmackDown review, which was published earlier today. Even though the matches were good, obviously we still didn't need these because SmackDown shouldn't have been in the tournament in the first place. So, yun lang naman. But, syempre, when you count on these people, I'll say this for the other triple threat as well. When you count on these wrestlers, these athletes to put on a good triple threat match, they will always deliver because the format is easy to make a good match out of.
Yeah, medyo telegraphing the win na tong, maybe we might be wrong, maybe SmackDown wins the title and then Roman gets that belt for himself. Again, we don't know. Pero at this point in time, parang we all expect Seth Rollins to be champion by the end of Night of Champions. Diba? So we'll see what happens. As for this triple threat, I don't know, kind of felt like, yes, it was hard-hitting, pero parang hindi masyadong match yung styles nilang tatlo. Like, Sheamus hard-hitting. Theory, not so much. And then si Lashley is kind of the guy in between with all his spearing and etc. So parang I enjoyed the old-timers match more, and I'll explain why once we get to that. But this was pretty good as well.
Yeah, agree.
All right, Emil, let's get to your pick since it is the other triple threat match that we alluded to.
All right, so my pick for this week is the other triple threat match from SmackDown for the first round of the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament between AJ Styles, Edge, and Rey Mysterio. Honestly, I also share the same sentiments that SmackDown wrestlers shouldn't have been involved in this tournament. But when I saw the brackets and I saw that we're gonna get this match, I was quite excited because these are three legends in the wrestling business, and at least I'm gonna see a good match. So even though I hate the idea of SmackDown being involved in it, at least we got this, and it was a really terrific match to open SmackDown, and a lot of creative spots since it's a three-way, and I like because most of the time triple threat match you got two guys in the ring going at it, and the one guy is outside, and he's gonna come in. Then it's gonna be the same cycle. But this one, it really felt like a three-way match because all three of them were involved for majority of the match. They had these creative spots. If you really look, you really got to watch the match because some of the spots I can't even explain. And AJ, for me, he looks terrific post injury, and I feel like he didn't miss a beat. And it had really a good pace considering all of them are in their 40s now, and it was able to showcase all three of them because I think bagong salta lang sa SmackDown si Edge and AJ. So they showed on the Fox audience that they are really good. Edge and AJ Styles. And I on the SmackDown side of the bracket, I really rooted for AJ to win, and I'm glad that he got the win, and also in the finals. So even though I didn't like the idea of SmackDown having a representative in the title that is exclusive to Raw, I am glad that AJ was the one who won the SmackDown side of the bracket.
Yeah, imagine this, diba? This match, sabi ni, I believe it was Michael Cole on commentary. All three guys had 90 years combined of ring experience.
Wow.
We know how we were talking about what showing somebody a match if they wanted to get back into wrestling. I'm gonna say this is that match you show somebody who is a lapsed fan. Because if you stopped watching wrestling 15 years ago, and then manunod ka ulit, tapos makita mo match na to, sabi, oh, nandiyan pa si Rey Mysterio, oh, nandiyan pa si Edge. And they're still going pretty hard in their 40s. So good job to all three of them. It's also very nice to see Edge back in a SmackDown ring, diba? Got his hottest start in his career, yung pasipa nung rated R superstar era niya. Dun sa SmackDown, it's John Cena feud. So
no, that was actually on Raw. But, SmackDown 6 Edge was...
Yeah, SmackDown
I think you were thinking of SmackDown 6 Edge, yeah.
Yeah, so you certain parts of his career became almost nostalgic for me after seeing this match. Si Rey Mysterio then, who was also part of the SmackDown 6. So, ang ganda din ng chemistry. And then you have AJ Styles in there, who's also very, very good. This match was just totally unexpected, but in the best way possible.
Yeah. I already said what I wanted to say. I think you guys already said what I also wanted to say. I just wanted to note that these guys, especially Edge, came from the era where less is more. Tapos they call a lot of stuff in the ring. Edge's contemporary was Eddie Guerrero, who loved to do that stuff. That didn't really want to script an entire match. But when you see these three guys wrestle, they wrestled a really, a millennial kind of match. Scripted all the way down to the last beat. Stan, you've seen this when Jeff Cobb was planning the entire triple threat match. Sorry, Emil, breaking the glass for you. But these kinds of matches with so many moving parts, because it has to be scripted down to the very end. And I just thought it was amusing because normally these are the kind of guys that will likely call it in the ring or call most or some of it in the ring. So that's pretty funny to see them adapt to the times and totally write an entire match from beginning to end. So that's pretty fun. And I think it worked out a lot better because they ended up having the better match and smooth execution and everything. Everyone was there. It didn't feel like they were 40 plus years old. So there is some sort of fountain of youth in pro wrestling right now. And I hope that never changes, especially as they as the years go by and they get even older. So really good stuff. I would pick this as well as the better triple threat match of the SmackDown episode.
One last thing that I want to note here is yung connection nila in kayfabe, like how Edge and Rey Mysterio had that history, and then they collectively faced the Judgment Day, diba? And then how Edge and AJ had that feud when Edge started the Judgment Day. So it was also pretty cool for WWE to acknowledge that, kasi recent history lang naman siya eh. So the fact that they didn't just forget that added another layer to this match beyond the fact that they were fighting for a spot in the World Heavyweight Championship semis, diba? Or tournament semis. So yun, another reason why this triple threat was actually really, really good. So there. Yeah. Those are our picks of the week. If you agree or if you want to chime in with your own pick, you know where to find us. It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. And everywhere else, it is at Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube where we upload those episodes as well. And we'll catch you probably tomorrow for another episode. We're supposed to be releasing this interview that that I did with our friends from Malaysia Pro Wrestling. So the MyPW National WrestleCon champion Miles Karu and our friend Cornelius Lowe, they joined us here on an audio-only episode. That should be out in about a day or two after you're hearing this. And of course, on Thursday, we'll all be back to convene for our regular Thursday live stream at 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. You can follow us individually at Monday Night Rowan, at EML_Meister, at Chino Supersized, and at Rowiswar. For me, it is at _Stan C. Thank you so much to our babyface producers over at PNA for all the work that they do behind the scenes. And thank you to every subscriber, streamer, listener, follower of the podcast, all the patrons as well, for making us a part of your wrestling diet. And on behalf of Ro Moran, Chino Liao, Emil ASH, my name is Stan Z, reminding everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. All right? Wrestling Podcast. Out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.